When your head moves, ideally, this movement should be supported and complemented by a corresponding subtle motion in the chest area and in your upper spine. However, if you have poor posture, muscle tension, and lack of mobility, your chest can become stiff and hinder this complementary motion, so that your cervical spine will be the one making all the work and overcompensating. And this will lead to a lot of strain on your neck muscles and joints. Similarly, if the pelvis is not moving fluidly, it can lead to issues in your low back, hips, or even further up the spine. So in this class, I will guide you to awaken the connectivity between your head, your chest, and your pelvis through a series of very gentle movements that were specifically designed to heighten your awareness of how these body parts interact in between them. By the end of our session, these pathways won't be just concepts. They will be tangible, pleasant experiences that you can tap into anytime, bringing you a fresh sense of ease and efficiency in your daily movements. All right, let's get started. For this class, you'll just need a mat or a blanket so to lie on, optionally, a pad or a book to place under your head for extra comfort. Leave some extra layers on the side just in case you get cold, and make sure you're in a quiet space so you can really relax and concentrate in the lesson. You don't need to be looking at the video all the time. Allow my voice to guide you through this session, and only glance at the video when it's absolutely necessary for your comprehension. Now, you can pause the video, prepare your space, prepare yourself, and once you're all set, let's get started. Please lie on your back, spread your arms, spread your legs. Take a little moment to just allow your body to spread and give its weight to the floor. Allow your breath to be free. Notice its natural flow. And then notice the contact of the body with the floor. How is the weight distributed? Meaning, what parts are pressing a little bit more the floor? What parts are pressing less? And what parts maybe are not touching the floor at all? What is the sensation of yourself now? What is the texture of yourself? Allow your jaw to be free, your tongue, your eyes, the point in between the eyebrows. Notice the contact of your heels with the floor, the right heel and the left. Notice if there's difference, if there's one side that feels heavier than the other one. Notice the right leg and its contact with the floor. The right calf the distance in between the right knee and the floor, the right thigh, all its length. And then notice the left one, the left calf, the distance between the back of the left knee and the floor, and the left thigh. Compare the sensation of the right side with the sensation on the left side. Which one feels heavier? Which one feels more spread on the floor? Is there one side that feels longer? Notice the contact of the pelvis, the back of the pelvis with the floor. Which side has more weight? Is the pelvis a little bit tilted towards the tailbone, or is it the pelvis a little bit tilted towards your lower back? Without making any correction, just noticing what is the position of your pelvis when you're just lying down like this. Notice as well the parts of your back that are touching the floor and the parts of your back that aren't touching the floor. Maybe you will feel that your lower back is a bit lighter. Maybe it's touching gently the floor, or maybe it's not touching at all. Feel the weight of your rib cage. Feel the shoulder blades. Notice how the right shoulder blade is resting on the floor. What is the distance between the right shoulder blade and the spine? Notice the left shoulder blade and how it's resting on the floor. And also its distance in relation to the spine. Compare both shoulder blades. Which one is lighter? Which one is heavier? Which one feels more spread, wide? And then travel up through your cervical spine. Notice the length of your neck until the base of the skull. Notice the volume of the head. What is the space that the head occupies in space? And notice the point where your head is resting on the floor. Is it more close to the top of the head? Or is it more close to the base of the skull? Is it really in the middle? Or is it more to the right or to the left? Where's your nose pointing to? Is it pointing straight up to the ceiling? Or maybe it's slightly to the right, slightly to the left. You don't have to correct. Just notice. Now, start making a circle just in front of you with your index finger. You can open your eyes and look at it and just make a simple circle in one direction and then in the other direction. And then let that go. Bring your arm along the side. Let your hand rest. And then bend your knees and place your feet standing. And now start circling your nose in a clockwise direction. Just as you've done the circle with your index finger, now you're just circling with your nose as if you're drawing a circle in a space in front of you. Notice how easy it is to draw this circle, or if there is a little bit of resistance, stay within your comfort zone. Don't try to make a super big circle, just simple. And notice if this circle is actually a circle, or if there are some parts of it that maybe are a little bit deformed or are less easy to do. And notice as you do the circle, how far throughout your body do you feel movement? Do you feel any echo throughout the body? As you do this circle with the nose, notice as well the back of your head. What is it doing on the floor? Is it maybe also drawing a circle on the floor? Continue doing this circle, but now instead of thinking of your nose, just start thinking in the same direction of the back of your head. So drawing this circle on the floor, but now with the back of the head, small, fluid. And notice as you do this that as you do the back of the head circle, the nose is also doing the circle. Noticing what is happening throughout the rest of the body, the chest, the distance between the chin and the chest, in which moment the chin comes close to the chest, in which moment it goes a bit apart. Is it only the chin that moves in relation to the chest, or does the chest move as well? You don't have to force anything, just notice. It doesn't matter how small it is that you might feel movement. Acknowledge it. And then just stop and rest. You can extend your legs for resting. Every time that you come back to this resting position, noticing, has the contact of the body with the floor changed? Allow your jaw to stay free, your tongue, your eyes. Bend your knees again, place your feet to stand. And now feel the pelvis in contact with the floor. And gently and small, start tilting the pelvis a little bit towards your tailbone. That means that your tailbone is coming closer to the ground. And then tilt the pelvis in the other direction, towards your lower back a bit, meaning that your lower back will come closer to the floor while your tailbone comes away from the floor. The pelvis is just tilting, it's not lifting. And notice as you repeat this movement to the tailbone, tilting the pelvis towards the tailbone, that we'll call the 6 of the pelvic clock. And then you tilt the pelvis up towards the lower back, and we're going to call it 12. Noticing this relationship of the lower back coming closer to the floor and the tailbone away. And then the opposite, tailbone coming towards the floor and lower back coming away. As you do this, notice what is happening on your chest. Is there any movement? What is happening with your sternum? Is it gently sliding in any direction? And again, notice this relationship between the chin and the chest. In which moment do they come close to each other? Which moment they come far away from each other? And the sensation of the movement spreading through the body. Noticing as well what is happening with your nose. What is it drawing in space? if it is drawing something. Notice that maybe the head, the back of the head, the nose, maybe all of them are also doing this same 6 and 12 hours. Noticing the echo of this pelvic movement on all of these other parts. And then stop. Extend your legs and take a rest. Bring your feet to stand again, bending your knees. Allow your feet to be a little bit separate if they aren't already. And then think now of tilting your pelvis to the right a little bit and then to the left. To the right will be the 3 o'clock of the clock. And then to the left, it's going to be the 9 o'clock of the clock. Drawing a line from the 3 to the 9, not only thinking of these 2 points on the right and on the left, but all the trajectory, all the rolling of the pelvis from one side to the other. Noticing if this line that you draw with the pelvis is straight or maybe is a little bit curvy. It doesn't matter, you don't have to correct. Just notice. And notice, where is the center? You go to the right, and then when you pass through the center, kind of acknowledge it. And then go through the left. Notice as you do the movement, if your knees are kind of moving to the right and to the left, see if you can keep your knees oriented to the ceiling without moving them so much. So we can differentiate the movement on the hip joints. We can differentiate the legs from the pelvis. And then you will notice that the feet kind of press on the ground, one side and then the other, to help you tilt your pelvis to the 3 o'clock and to the 9 o'clock without having to tilt your knees to the right and to the left. Notice the difference between the sides. Is there one side that feels easier to tilt to than the other one? If you think of the distance in between the center and the 9 o'clock, the center and the 3 o'clock, Is it the same distance that you had before from the center to the 6 and to the 12? Maybe it's smaller, maybe it's a bit bigger. You think now that you're rolling your pelvis from side to side, you're rolling more than when you were rolling up and down, or you're rolling less? And then stop for a moment. You can keep your knees bent. Allow the breath to be free. Do nothing for a moment. Now, come back to do this sideways movement with the pelvis, tilting to the 3, tilting to the 9, and include the nose in this movement. The nose is going to do the same hours at the same time as the pelvis. So as the pelvis goes to the 3 o'clock, the nose also goes to the 3 o'clock. When the pelvis goes to 9 o'clock, the nose also goes to 9 o'clock. As you do this movement with the pelvis and with the nose, notice what is happening with the chest and the sternum. Is it moving? In which direction? How is it participating? Notice the ribs, the lower ribs especially. Notice how the rib cage is participating. Is there also some kind of a roll on the rib cage? Rolling from side to side. What is happening with the back of the head? Is it leaning on the same hours as the nose and the pelvis? Then noticing the relationship between the back of the head, the nose, and the pelvis as the nose and the pelvis go to the same hours. Just do this movement a couple of times and then take a little rest. Extend your legs. Notice how is the body touching the floor now? Do you feel somehow softer or more spread on the ground? Notice the breath. And notice as well how every time that we come to this rest, maybe it's not only the body that is changing, but is there something that it's changing in your availability, in your ability to dive into yourself, to be quiet and listening, to be perceiving these subtleties. And then bend your knees again, bring your feet to stand. And then let's start moving with your pelvis clockwise from 12 to 1 to 2 to 3, 4, 5 until the 6, doing the whole side, the whole right side of the pelvis, leaning into each hour. And then coming back. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to the 12. Repeating this same side of the clock, the right side, leaning into each hour, clarifying for you where they are. And as you do it, noticing which are the hours that feel easy for you to lean to, and which are the hours that maybe feel a bit harder, not so fluid to go to. As you do that, notice what is happening again with your nose, and also with the back of the head. And with the pelvis, really linger a bit into each hour, tasting a little bit each hour, defining them, making this imprint very clear. And now start including the nose to do the same thing simultaneously, going from the 12 to the 6, passing through these hours from 12 to 6. As you do that, notice if your breath can stay free, your jaw. And they're doing the same hours at the same time. You know, stop the pelvis and just do the circle with the nose in this clockwise direction, the full circle now. And notice what has changed. Are there parts of the circle that are easier to do? How is the pelvis taking part in the movement? Is there any echo? Is there one side that feels more free than the other one, more fluid? And then rest. Extend the legs. And do nothing. You might notice a difference between the right side and the left side. Between the left shoulder and the right shoulder and shoulder blades. Now, bend your knees again, bring your feet to stand, and tilt your pelvis to 6 o'clock. And then from 6 o'clock, we're going to start exploring the lower arch by going a little bit to the right and then a little bit to the left, gradually. So we go from the 6 to the 7, and then back to 6, and then to 5, and then back to 6, 7, and we add the 8, and then back 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and then back to 5, 6, 7, 8 until the 9, and then back 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 until the 3, completing this lower arch all the way from the 3 to the 9. Defining, lingering into each hour. Notice what is happening to your nose. Is it accompanying the lower arch? Is it also drawing the lower arch, but in the nose clock? What is happening with the chest? Is there any movement? To each hour of the pelvis, of the lower arch, how is the chest responding? Notice your breath. And notice what is happening with your feet. By noticing how do you use your feet, can they help you more consciously to linger and to define these hours of the lower arch? And then let that go and just do the circle with your nose clockwise, the whole circle, and notice how is it now? How is this circling of the nose? Does it feel easier? Does it feel easier in general? Or maybe it doesn't feel easier? Or does it feel easier in certain parts more than others? What is the echo throughout the body? And then rest. Notice your resting position. How's your back touching the floor now? The distance between the back of your neck and the floor. How is your upper back resting on the floor? Bend your knees. Bring your feet to stand. And then now tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. That means your lower back is going to come closer to the floor. And then start exploring the upper arch by gradually adding the hours. So you start with the 12 and then you go to 1 and then you come back to 12 and then to 11 and then back to 12. Go to 1 and 2 and then to 1 and 12 and 11 and 10 and then 11, 12, 1, 2 and 3. Coming back to 1, 12, 11, 10 and 9. Making it clear, defining each hour of the upper arch. Noticing what hours are easier, what hours are a bit harder. Is it an actual arch or is it a little bit distorted? Some hours closer to the center of the clock than others. Even if you have to make it smaller, the whole clock, try to make this arch really a proper arch. So each hour is the same distance from the center. Notice what is happening with the nose. Is it pressing the same hours? Notice what is happening with the back of the head. Is it also pressing the same hours? Allow your breath to be free and the movement to be fluid, even if it has to be smaller. And then repeat the circle. Stop that. And repeat the circle with the nose only. Clockwise, the whole clock, the whole circle. And then notice the difference. Has it changed from the last time that you have experimented the circle? Are there parts of the circle that are easier to do now? And then take a rest. You can extend the legs. And then bend your knees again. Bring your feet to stand. And start making the circle with the pelvis in a clockwise direction. And notice now the full circle. What has changed? Notice if there's more easiness. Is it more clear? Each of the hours? Is it more precise? Does it get to be pleasurable? How can it be more pleasurable? How can this sensation be more spread, find more expression through the movement of your pelvis? Is your lower belly included? Can you include it? Keep it fluid, keep it easy, with no effort, keeping the breath free. And start including now the nose and the back of your head. They're also doing a circle in a clockwise direction. Notice the echo through the body, especially the chest, the sternum. It's like what is moving and how it's moving in between these places of the circles, that it's the pelvis and the head and the nose. Notice your feet. How are they participating? The shoulders, the collarbones, the rib cage, the pressure of the torso on the floor. And now stop the pelvis and do the circle only with the nose and the back of the head in this clockwise direction. Just as we did many times before. Is this movement easier now? Notice the back of the head, how how is this circle now? Does it feel freer? Notice your ears on the sides. Are they also making a circle? What is happening with your pelvis as you're doing this circle with the head? Even though I said, okay, don't think of the pelvis now, don't think of doing this movement with the pelvis. Is it helping? Is there any movement or echo there? Is it inevitably connected? Allow the movement to be on the nose and on the back of the head, but allow the pelvis to assist this movement, to take part on it, as if it wouldn't be separate anymore. Continue with this circling of the pelvis in a clockwise direction. And then feeling all of these circles, pelvis, nose, back of the head, going in the same direction. Change direction of all circles to counterclockwise. So all of them change simultaneously. Notice what's the difference. Stop the nose and move just the pelvis in the counterclockwise direction. And then stop the pelvis and do just the nose. Allow the breath to be free. And use the pelvis to assist the nose to reach all of the hours in this counterclockwise direction. Notice the back of the head, defined, clear. Notice the chest. Is there also a circular motion on the chest? How is the weight shifting on the back of your rib cage? And then just rest. Let the legs be long. And do nothing. Just taste the taste of yourself now, the taste of your body, taste of your texture, of the contact with the floor. Please bend your knees again. Bring your feet to standing position. And now start rolling the back of the head and the nose counterclockwise while the pelvis is going clockwise. Start slow. To make it easier, notice that when the pelvis reaches the 6 o'clock, the nose is at 12 o'clock and vice versa. Pelvis going clockwise and the back of the head and the nose going counterclockwise. Now change. Move the pelvis in the counterclockwise direction and start thinking that the nose and the back of the head will start going clockwise direction. Now start going with the nose and the pelvis in the same direction as before. It can be clockwise or counterclockwise, but they go together. How is it now? Has it changed? Is it easier? How the action of going with the pelvis and the nose in different directions has changed your perception of when they go in the same direction. Now, if you're going clockwise, go counterclockwise with the head, the nose, and the pelvis. And then stop the pelvis and just do the motion with your nose, doing some circles in the clockwise direction, noticing how is it now, what is the echo throughout the body, how does this movement taste, how do you taste when you make this movement. And then change direction, do it in a counterclockwise direction. Noticing if there's still one direction that feels easier for you. And then the other one. And then just stop and rest. Extend your legs. Notice your breath and the contact of the whole body with the floor. How is it different? What is the echo of the lesson? Can you still feel these circles inside of you? Then bend one knee and then the other one. Bring one knee and then the other one closer to your chest. Bring the right hand on the top of the right knee, the left hand on the top of the left knee. Spread your knees a little bit with your hands. And then let the right knee fall to the right. The left knee comes later to accompany it and meet the right knee on the right. Your whole body rolls to the right as you do that. And then the left knee goes towards the ceiling and to the left. The right knee comes to accompany it. And both knees are together on the left as your body rolls to the left. In this way, roll from side to side, separating your knees in the transition and having them together on the sides. Just noticing this rolling. Allow your jaw to be free, your head to be free, your tongue to be free, your neck. And then roll to whatever side that you prefer. Come to sitting. And through sitting, find your way to coming to your feet. And then unroll your spine, coming to a standing position. And then notice you're standing. What is the taste of you now? The sensation of your standing? How is your grounding? How is the contact of your feet with the floor? Your contact with the earth? What is your texture? How much are you available to feel now? Open your eyes. How do you perceive your room, your space, this new body? And then have a walk around and notice how this lesson is integrated in your walking. How does it affect your walking? Does it inspire you to do something? To dance, to feel, or maybe something that you don't even know what is it, but how does it change you? And maybe what possibilities open to you? Thank you very much.